Bellwork 18. Number 1, change 0.3 repeating to a fraction. Go ahead and set 0.3 repeating to x. Then you need to identify where does my decimal stop repeating. It stops repeating at the tenths place. So I'll multiply both sides by 10. Then I'll subtract my original x value from both sides. 10x minus x is 9x, and 3.3 repeating minus 0.3 repeating is just 3. Finally, I'll divide both sides by 9. X is equal to 3/9, which is not simplified, so I'll simplify it down to 1/3. X is equal to 1/3. Moving on to number 2. Change 0.1 with only the 6 repeating to a fraction. All right, so your decimal stops repeating in the hundredths place. So let's go ahead and set our x equal to this repeating decimal first. Then we're going to multiply both sides by 100. Then we're going to say, since the 1 is not repeating and it's in the tenths place, we're going to then multiply both sides by 10 just to get rid of that 1 and our repeating decimal at the same time. So we'll go ahead and subtract both sides by our value for 10x. 100x minus 10x is 90x. And 16, oops, I shouldn't have had this repeating here. And 16.6 repeating minus 1.6 repeating is 15. And finally, we'll divide both sides by 90. So x equals 15 over 90, which I can just divide both the numerator and denominator by 15. 15 divided by 15 is 1, and 90 divided by 15 is 6. So our final answer here is x is equal to 1/6. All right, number 3. Approximate which two integers the square root of 160 is between. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through our perfect squares and see which two 160 lies between. So we've got 1 squared is 1, 2 squared, and again we're really just looking at what's inside the radical, the 160. 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, little too small, 5 squared 25, 6 squared 36, 7 squared 49, 8 squared 64, 9 squared 81, 10 squared 100, so we're finally getting up there, 11 squared 121, 12 squared 144, very close, and 13 squared 169. I think we've clearly found which two integers the square root of 160 lies between. It's going to lie between 12 and 13. Because 160 is right between 144 and 169. All right, and finally, number 4, place the square root of 3 in the appropriate place on the number line. So square root of 3, 1 is equal to the, 1 is equal to the square root of 1. 2 is equal to the square root of 4. Well, 3 is clearly bigger than 1, and it's way closer to 4 than it is to 3. So I would say that my square root of 3 is going to be somewhere over here between these 4. So let's go ahead and see what all of these numbers are squared. 1.6 squared, 1.7 squared, 1.8 squared, and 1.9 squared. Okay, so we will go ahead and do that now. All right, so 1.6 squared is 2.56, so it's a little small, but not too bad. 1.7 squared is equal to 2.89, that's very close. 1.8 squared, 1.8 squared is equal to 3.24. And we've gone over, so we know that is going to be between 1.7 and 1.8. And which one is it closer to? Well, this one's only 11 hundredths off. Because if I just do 3 minus 2.89, it's 11 hundredths off. And this one is 24 hundredths off. Because then I do 3.24 minus 3. So this one's a little bit farther off. So I would say it's much closer to 1.7 than 1.8. So I'd say it's about here. Okay? And that is all for day 18.